Farming is a tough way to make a living, but running a farm in a swamp? Some might call you crazy. But when the livestock gets up to 13 feet of scales and nasty pointed teeth, well, that's when you've got yourself a tourist attraction. I've done it this time, folks. Surrounded by 23 acres of wild South Alabama swamp, and I've got lots of interested company. I think we all know how this story's gonna end. If you find that giant fanged reptiles fascinate you, it's hard to imagine a better place to see our state's most fearsome predator than at Summerdale's Alligator Alley.
In the swamp, we have a little over 200 adults, and they are wild-caught nuisance alligators. So, they are animals that came from public swimming areas, creeks, swamps, rivers, places where it was no longer safe for people and no longer safe for the alligator.
Owner Westmore opened Alligator Alley in 2004. Converting a swamp primarily used to irrigate his family farm into a walk-through wild marshland once prevalent throughout South Alabama.
There's not a lot you can do with a spring-fed swamp, surrounded by fertile farmland, but when you like alligators and you kind of have a history with them, it sort of works out.
After a tour of the swamp's wonderfully maintained boardwalk trails, I had the unique opportunity to help feed the gators. If you can't tell, I'm feeling a little bit like a field mouse juggling Meow Mix, but chow time is probably the prime time attraction at the park.
A lot of times, people are somewhat shocked by our feeding shows. They've been somewhere or heard about feeding marshmallows and other things. And my alligators don't eat marshmallows. My alligators break things. So we try to entertain and educate at the same time.
Once an endangered species, alligator populations have steadily recovered in recent years. With human populations continuing to expand into wetland areas, Wes hopes to build an understanding in his guests of these large carnivores, not only for their safety, but also for the preservation of an important player in our ecosystem.
People have been, cohabitating with alligators ever since we've been on the planet. Generally, alligators don't eat people. Should you be afraid of alligators? Yes. Should you respect alligators? Yes. Should you live your life thinking that if you get in the water, you're going to get eaten by an alligator? No. You've got a far greater chance of getting run over, by a crazy driver texting when you leave my facility than get eaten by an alligator out here in the wild.
There's plenty of big boys to see in the swamp, ranging from the nearly 14-foot colonel down to these guys.
They're still cute little guys. Their teeth at that point are not capable of doing any damage whatsoever. When they get about a year old, and so you're talking around 12 to 16 inches, they can draw blood. They get around 6 to 7 feet, they can break a bone. They get 10 or 11 feet, then your relatives get to figure out who gets your stuff.
That seals it for me. I'll reserve future feedings for the young'uns. Want some candy? But trust me, folks, the next time you're headed to South Alabama for some sun and sand, pencil a stop at Alligator Alley into your vacation plans. You can't get much closer to Jurassic Park in Alabama than this.
65 million years ago, this is what the Earth looked like. It was swamps, and it was cypress trees. So, come for the alligators, but, come for everything else. Come to, walk through a cypress swamp in good old South Alabama and, get some good Southern hospitality and learn a little bit and, go home and try to pass on the good word.
I cannot tell you how happy I was that you volunteered to cover this story. So what was it like being that close to alligators? Because Lord knows I'm not ever going to do something like that.
Well, I got close to them, but I had no idea there were that many alligators in one place anywhere on Earth. It was like Jurassic Park. The guy was sitting there with a pole to keep the alligators off of me as I fed them, but he said, "You better watch yourself talking to Matt," and there was one 5 feet away from Matt, and he said, "That one's named Sneaky."
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad that both of y'all made it back with all your fingers and toes.
And arms and legs.
Yeah. Now we have just one more segment left in this special episode. And if you're a dedicated viewer, you might be able to guess what's next.
Yes, it's the Simply Southern adventure that allowed me to knock an item off my bucket list.
There's nothing quite like sitting down to a home-cooked meal with fresh vegetables from the garden. With Bonnie plants from your local quality co-op store, you can enjoy the freshest vegetables right from your own backyard. And no matter if you're a raised bed gardener, a rose gardener, Or if you farm hundreds of acres, your quality co-op store has exactly what you need to get the most out of your plants. You'll always find what you need, plus friendly, knowledgeable advice at your local quality co-op store. There's one near you.
FFA makes a positive difference in the lives of students by developing their potential for premier leadership, personal growth, and career success through agricultural education.
We're strengthening American agriculture and providing our members with the skills needed to build healthy local communities, a strong nation, and a sustainable world.
We are the next generation of agriculture.
It's our turn now.
Let's show the world what we can achieve together.
We are FFA.
The versatile peanut, meat of the earth, friend of the soil, tasty, nutritious, packed with protein. And Alabama peanut farmers nourish some very special things: families, communities, and Alabama's economy. Peanuts. Good for you, good for Alabama.
For more Simply Southern, be sure to follow us on social media. And while you're online, visit our website, simplysouthern.tv.net. Simply Southern will continue in a moment.
We believe a plant should be more than a plant. This one is. It's all you need for your garden to succeed because it's a Bonnie plant. It represents hundreds of varieties of Bonnie's quality veggies and herbs. But more, it's from generations of Bonnie people who are passionate about sharing their love of gardening with you. Look for this little Bonnie plant and a whole family of plants like it in your garden center. Bonnie plants, so you'll know how to grow.